oxidation state. Transition metals exhibit large number of oxidation state. Most of this shows variable oxidation state. Why this shows variable oxidation state? Because of the presence of unpaired electrons, and both n-1 d electrons and ns electrons are participating in a chemical reaction. So variable oxidation state due to the participation of inner n-1 d electrons or penultimate n-1 d electrons in addition to outer ns electrons. Because of the energies of ns and n-1 d subshell, it is nearly same. The energies of n-1 d orbital and ns orbital, it is nearly same. So both they can participate in a chemical reaction. So transition metals shows variable oxidation state. It is due to the participation of n-1 d electrons and ns electrons in a chemical reaction. So it is clear. If suppose it is lower oxidation state, means only ns electrons it is participating in a chemical reaction. Lower oxidation state means only ns electrons it is participated in a chemical reaction. So here it is discussed in a 3D series. 3D series it is scandium to zinc. So scandium shows only one oxidation state, that is +3 oxidation state. Zinc shows +2 oxidation state. Manganese showing maximum oxidation state, that it is +2 to +7. And their maximum oxidation state, it is same as that of their group number. Copper shows 2 oxidation state, that is +1 and +2 oxidation state. +1 and +2 oxidation state. And in the case of chemical compound formation, the stability of the oxidation state depends on the stability of electronic configuration. Copper, which oxidation state it is more stable? +1 is more stable. Why? Copper +1 oxidation state means it become 3D10 configuration. But solution form it is different. Which one is more stable? +2 is more stable. Why? Because of low hydration enthalpy and high enthalpy of atomization. So I'll read oxidation state. The transition metals exhibit a large number of oxidation states in their compounds. Most of these show variable oxidation states. The existence of transition elements in different oxidation state means that their atoms can lose different number of electrons. This is due to the participation of inner n-1 d electrons in addition to outer ns electrons, because the energies of ns and n-1 d subshells are almost equal. The lower oxidation state is generally shown when only ns electrons participate in bonding, and higher oxidation states are exhibited when both ns and n-1 d electrons takes part in bonding. Then what are the stable oxidation state of scandium? +3. Chromium it is +2 to +6. Manganese it is +2 to +7. Copper +1 and +2. Zinc it is +2 oxidation state. Okay. Okay. The elements which give greatest number of oxidation state occur in or near the middle of the series. So which element with the highest oxidation state? Manganese with the highest oxidation state. What are the oxidation state of manganese? +2 to +7, +2 +3 +4 +5 +6 and +7. And the lesser number of oxidation state means only ns electrons it is participating in a chemical reaction. More number of oxidation state means both n-1 d electrons and ns electrons will participate. In the case of scandium, which is the stable oxidation state? +3. +3 means both ns and n-1 d electrons it is participating. Titanium +4 means what? Both n-1 d and ns participating. Electrons +2 means only NS is participating. Lower oxidation state, +2 means NS electrons only participating. More than +2 means both NS and N-1 d electrons it is participating in a chemical reaction. Early in the series, scandium-2 is virtually unknown. Scandium-2 it is unknown, underline. Titanium-4 is more stable compared to Titanium-3 and Titanium-2. Why Titanium-4 is more stable? Titanium-4 means 3d no electron, 4s also no electron up to 3p only. That is all subshell it is completely filled. Scandium +3 also same. The remaining subshell it is completely filled. Okay, that means D0, D5 and D10 it is a stable configuration. Scandium +3 means D0. Titanium +4 also D0. Then at the other end, the oxidation state of zinc +2. Zinc +2 means no d electrons are involved. Zinc +2 means D10 configuration it is stable. The maximum oxidation states of reasonable stability correspond in value to the sum of S and D electrons up to manganese. Up to middle of the series, the maximum oxidation state it is the sum of S electrons and D electrons. Sum of S electrons and D electrons. In the case of manganese, how many D electrons are there? 5. How many S electrons? 2. So total it is 7. So maximum up to 7. In the case of chromium, how many D electrons are there? 5. How many S electron? 1. 5 plus 1 is equal to 6. So maximum 6. Clear? In the case of vanadium, how many S electrons are there? 2. How many D electrons? 3. So 3 plus 2 is equal to 5. Up to manganese, the maximum oxidation state is the sum of S electrons and D electrons. And followed by there is a decrease in the stability of higher oxidation state. Then the variability of oxidation state, a characteristics of transition elements, arises out of incomplete filling of d orbitals in such a way that their oxidation state differ from each other by unity. Why? Here it is clearly mentioned that difference in one oxidation state to another it is one only. Why it is mentioned? Because of in the case of p block elements, in the case of p block elements, for a single element the oxidation state differ by 2 units. Suppose it is a +1 oxidation state, next oxidation state it is a +3 only, next it is a +5. Clear? But in the case of transition elements, starting with the +2 means next it is what? +3, next +4. So in the case of transition metals, oxidation state differ by unity. In the case of p block elements, oxidation state differ by 2 units. So you can expect one question it is why transition elements oxidation state differ by unity? Because of the participation of NS electrons in a chemical reaction. But p block elements differ by 2 units. Why? Because S electrons are not participating in a chemical reaction. Clear? In the case of d block elements, oxidation state differ by unity. Why? Because both NS and N-1 d electrons are participating in a chemical reaction. In the case of p block elements, oxidation state differ by 2 units. Why? Because NS electrons are not participating. That is called inert pair effect. Reluctance of S electrons to participate in a chemical reaction is called inert pair effect. Pair means how many electrons are there? 2 electrons. Inert means unreactive, non-reactive. A pair of electrons not participating in a chemical reaction. That is called inert pair effect. In the case of p block elements, S electrons not participating. That is oxidation state differ by 2 units. In the case of D block elements, S electrons participating. That is why the oxidation state differ by unity. Then yes, an interesting feature in the variability of oxidation state of D block elements it is noticed among the group 4 through 10. Although in the P block, the lower oxidation states are favored by heavier member due to inert pair effect. Underline that point. P block elements, lower oxidation states are favored by heavier members due to inert pair effect. What is inert pair effect? Reluctance of S electrons to participate in a chemical reaction is called inert pair effect. The opposite is true in the case of a D block. In the case of D block, S electrons will participate. In the case of a P block, S electron is not participating. Example, group 6, molybdenum 6, tungsten 6 are found to be more stable than chromium 6. That is, size more means higher oxidation state, it is more stable. Lower oxidation state means not heavier elements. Heavier elements, higher oxidation state, it is more stable. Chromium 6 in the form of dichromate in acidic medium, it is a strong oxidizing agent. That is one is an application only. Chromium plus 6 in the form of dichromate in acidic medium, it is a strong oxidizing agent. But molybdenum and tungsten oxides are not oxidizing agent. Chromium plus 6 in dichromate, it is a strong oxidizing agent. Then low oxidation states are found when a complex compound formation with ligands. Ligand means pi acceptor ligands in addition to sigma bonding that we will discuss in the next chapter, that is metal carbonyls. Transition metal forming complex with carbonyl ligand. It is called metal carbonyls. Their two bonds are there. Which are they? Both sigma bond and pi bond. Sigma bond is formed by the donation of electrons from a ligand to metal. Then reverse, metal to ligand. It is called antibonding pi star orbital. So pi bond is there. Combined effect of sigma and pi bond gives stability of that compound. That effect is called what? Synergic effect. Combined effect of sigma bond and pi bond gives strength of metal carbonyl. That effect is called synergic effect. Synergic effect. So it is clear. Next it is a formation of colored ions. This one we already discussed. How a colored ion is formed by transition metal? By absorbing energy from visible region, and the electrons will move from lower energy d orbital to higher energy orbital, and the excitation corresponds to the frequency of light absorbed. This frequency is generally lies in the visible region. The color observed corresponds to the complementary color of the ligand light absorbed. Okay. Unpaired electron means the color is there. Unpaired electrons DD transition. No unpaired electron means it is colorless. D0 and fully filled also colorless. D0 configuration colorless. D10 configuration also. D10 configuration also colorless. D1 to D9 colored in nature. D1 to D9 colored in nature. Then next it is magnetic properties. Magnetic properties are of two types in the presence of magnetic field. They are diamagnetism and paramagnetism. Diamagnetism due to the presence of paired electrons, and paramagnetism due to the presence of unpaired electrons. Okay, an element containing unpaired electron means it is paramagnetic in nature. All the electrons are paired means it is diamagnetic in nature. Here it is diamagnetic substances means repelled by the applied field. Repelled by the applied field means all the electrons are already paired. Paramagnetic substances are attracted by the applied field. Substances which are attracted very strongly are said to be ferromagnetic in nature. Diamagnetism, paramagnetism, ferromagnetism. Diamagnetic substances are repelled by applied field. Paramagnetic substances are attracted. Paramagnetism due to the presence of unpaired electrons. Diamagnetism due to the presence of paired electrons. Substances which are attracted very strongly are said to be ferromagnetic in nature. Then magnetic moment also we can calculate using spin only formula, that is mu is equal to root of n into n plus 2. What is n? N is the number of unpaired electrons. If only element is present, just fill the electron using Aufbau principle, Hund's rule of maximum multiplicity, Pauli's exclusion principle. Count the number of unpaired electrons and substitute into this value, you will get a magnetic moment. But in the case of a complex, we have to consider the ligand strength also. If it is a strong field ligand, first it will pair. After that, we can count. If it is a weak field ligand, no pairing. Same it will come. So it is clear. So in the case of complex and in the case of transition metal, magnetic moment calculation, it is different. In the case of complex, we have to consider the field strength of the ligand also. In the case of transition metal, simply you can write the electronic configuration, count the number of unpaired electrons, calculate the magnetic moment. So what is the equation for calculating magnetic moment? Mu is equal to root of n into n plus 2. What is n? N is the number of unpaired electrons. Then what is the unit of magnetic moment? Mu is equal to n into n plus 2, root of n into n plus 2, unit it is Bohr magneton Bm. Okay, here examples given. Scandium plus 3. Scandium plus 3 means how many unpaired electrons are there? 0 unpaired electrons. You know that scandium electronic configuration, it is 21. Scandium electronic configuration, scandium atomic number 21, electronic configuration 3d1 4s2. Scandium plus 3, it will become 3d0 4s0. Any unpaired electron present? No. 0 unpaired electrons. So the magnetic moment is also 0. Clear? I'll write another example. It is scandium plus 1. How many unpaired electrons are there? Scandium plus 1. Scandium plus 1 means 1 electron it is lost. From which orbital? S orbital. Remaining how many unpaired electrons? 2. 2 unpaired electron means what is the value? 2.84. Scandium plus 2. 2 electrons will go. Remaining it is 3d1. How many unpaired electrons? 1. So what is the value of magnetic moment? 1.73. Clear? Another example it is manganese 25. Electronic configuration 3d5 4s2. How many unpaired electrons are there? 5. So what is the value? 5.92. Manganese plus 3. What is the electronic configuration? 3d4. How many unpaired electrons? 4 unpaired electrons. So what is the value? 4.90. Zn2 plus 3d10. 0 unpaired electron. So the magnetic moment also 0. Clear? So magnetic moment calculation equation, mu is equal to root of n into n plus 2, where n is the number of unpaired electrons and the unit it is Bohr magneton. That's all about magnetic properties. Then catalytic properties and interstitial compounds, alloy formation, that we already discussed. Next it is for two compounds of D block elements, it is potassium dichromate and KMnO4. What is the formula of potassium dichromate? It is K2Cr2O7. Okay, very important preparation and their properties. First it is method of preparation of K2Cr2O7. Preparation. It is prepared from chromate ore, that is FeCr2O4. 3 steps. First it is conversion of chromate ore into sodium chromate. Chromate FeCr2O4 reaction with sodium carbonate in the presence of air forming Na2CrO4. It is yellow in color. That is a sodium chromate. Next it is a conversion of sodium chromate to sodium dichromate. Acidification reaction with H2SO4. Next it is a conversion of sodium dichromate to potassium dichromate. Reaction with KCl. Potassium dichromate, it is orange in color. Okay, so what are the 3 steps for the preparation of a potassium dichromate? First it is a conversion of a chromate to chromate. Second step, sodium chromate to sodium dichromate. Third step, sodium dichromate to potassium dichromate. What is the color of sodium chromate? Sodium chromate color yellow. Potassium dichromate, it is orange in color. And next it is the very important part, it is the chromates and dichromates are interconvertible in aqueous solution depending upon the pH of the solution. The chromates and dichromates are interconvertible depending upon the pH of the solution. Here first it is a chromate. Which compound we are adding? H plus ion we are adding. H plus means acidic or basic. H plus it is acidic. That means this chromate, it is basic in nature. Chromate, it is basic. What is the color of a chromate? Chromate color, it is yellow in color. Addition of H plus, it become dichromate. Dichromate, it is acidic or basic? Dichromate, it is acidic. What is the color? Orange color. If we start with the dichromate, dichromate, it is acidic. So addition of OH minus, it will become basic. Chromate, it is yellow in color. Dichromate, it is orange in color. So whose pH value it is less than 7? Dichromate or chromate? Dichromate pH value, it is less than 7. pH less than 7, it is acidic in nature. Chromate pH value, it is greater than 7, it is basic in nature. So it is clear. So preparation of potassium dichromate, conversion of chromite ore into sodium chromate. Sodium chromate is converted to sodium dichromate. Sodium dichromate converted to potassium dichromate. Chromate is yellow in color, basic. Dichromate is orange in color and it is acidic.